If you look at the history of Cleveland, it was considered a blue-collar town. It was very comparable to Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Detroit, certainly. A lot of that's changed. The manufacturing's not here like it once was.
Companies in this era of capital and job mobility are not really anchored in place. They're not really loyal to the communities in which they reside. And so as companies come and go from our communities, it kind of rips the economic underpinnings.
People losing their homes, the foreclosure crisis here, it's just been devastating. We're at a time in this country with the economic crisis that people are not looking for the same old thing. They say you keep doing the same old thing, you get the same results.
We give incentives to businesses and they come into a town and they say, well, we're going to move here, and we give them some money, and 10 years when the incentive's over, they say, well, what town should we move to next?
It's a familiar story. Industries move away, jobs are lost, and with them a middle-class way of life. It seems to be happening everywhere, but it's not. This is a place where most businesses are owned by the people who work there. Jobs are secure. There's a broad and prosperous middle class. At the heart of the economy are the Mondragon Cooperatives, 120 independent companies, each owned and managed by its workers, joining together for the common good. 84,000 employees, $25 billion in annual revenues. And the region around Mondragon has the lowest unemployment in Spain.
Cualquier empresario del exterior le dirá que lo más importante sea sacar el máximo beneficio. Nosotros decimos que la rentabilidad y el beneficio es importante para sostener a la empresa, pero que también es muy importante la generación de empleo.
Empleo para todas las personas, no empleos elitistas, sino para las personas que incluso no tienen tanta capacidad o tantas habilidades. Pues permitir que las personas vivan bien y que sean empresas también longevas. No hacerlo para una generación, sino hacerlo para todas las generaciones posibles.
We believe that it isn't good for anybody if somebody loses their job. If you lose your job, you haven't got money. If you haven't got money, you can't buy. If you can't buy, you can't buy our product.
El reparto de la riqueza más equitativa llega a más personas y por lo tanto más personas tienen la posibilidad de vivir más o menos bien, y eso es importante.
Sí, las diferencias sociales no son tan exageradas como pueden ser en otros sitios, ¿no? La empresa es nuestra, pero somos trabajadores también, ¿no? Entonces no hay como un jefe que pueda haber en otras empresas, ¿no? Todos somos nuestros jefes y todos tenemos que tirar para adelante con la empresa.
Mondragon has a special appeal for people in North America who want to build a more just and sustainable economy.
What a great way to put a company in a community that supports the community. That people would own the business. So the business can't pick up and move unless every single person who worked there said, yeah, we'll move to Florida. And there's all kinds of multipliers, because if I live in that community, then I'm also spending my money in the community.
This is a business and we're a co-op. We all have to have a strong mentality that what Evergreen and Ohio Solar is trying to do is going to work for us in our community.
We're linking these businesses to local institutions like hospitals and universities that are also rooted in Cleveland. They're not going to get up and leave. And if we can win them as our customers for our services in Evergreen, then we have a chance of real stability.
The hope is that over a 10, 20-year period, that we can build a network of 20, 50, 100 companies that employ over 5,000 residents.
The way we have to approach all of these efforts is, are the businesses sustainable? Are they viable? Can they generate profits? Because if they can't do those things, then for those workers it's going to be a very short-lived endeavor.
An installation like this may take our co-op anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to install.
What's in it for the city is, as these panels produce electricity, their overall consumption of power during the month is reduced because we're actually producing power for them, and so they don't have to buy it right straight off the grid.
We're insulating this house, and they're doing that by drilling holes in the siding and filling up all the exterior walls with cellulose insulation.
When you're the general laborer, you're more or less waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You stick to a regular routine, you come in, you do your work, and the day goes on, and that's it. When you're a part of this co-op, you make choices, you motivate yourself because you're an owner. You have to take the initiative.
Oh yeah, I work this machine, that machine. I'll be all over the place. I can work everything around here. I even do that over there. I do everything around here. Everybody learns everything, so we kind of rotate and move around. Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Because this machine washes 150 pounds of linen every 3 minutes. Okay? These dryers hold 300 pounds. 300 pounds. You know how you dry clothes and all your heat at home goes right out the stack? The heat goes up, then it comes back down, so we can reuse that heat again. Then it goes back out. Yeah, see? Final product.
Being an owner makes it different because then you're looking forward to the future of building something financial. You have some stability, you know, that you can look forward to. You got money set aside that you can use for maybe to start another business or whatever. Yeah.
Everyone who works in that laundry today own that company. If they're with us 20 years, they will have a nice piece of capital to take with them. Absolutely. So over time they'll continue to grow that and create hopefully a retirement pool for themselves and be able to walk away and have sent their children to college and own a nice home.
The idea is not to just maximize the self-interest and benefit for the people today working in the companies, but it's to develop something that has real lasting power over time. And so we've created a structure called the Evergreen Cooperative Corporation. On the board of that company will be representatives elected by the individual Evergreen companies, but also by the anchor institutions that are our clients and partners, by our investors, our funders. So it's a kind of effort of many, many different types of people working together collaboratively for the benefit of the common good.
Most people, as with any job, they see it more as a 9 to 5. We have to develop that culture and that consciousness that is bigger than that. You know, it's not just a job. It's not just some place you get a paycheck from. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a blessing. Like to be able to get up every morning and come to work and, you know, go to bed at night thinking I can get up in the morning and go to a job that I really love, something that I have passion for.
La cooperativa está dividida en socios trabajadores y socios consumidores. Es un tipo de trabajo que tomas muchas decisiones, puedes opinar y decir cosas que pueden trasladarse a sitios que luego se pueden hacer o se pueden llevar a cabo. Si estás en una empresa que no es cooperativa, pues hay que hacer lo que te dicen sin decir tú nada. Entonces aquí tenemos la opción de poner nuestras propuestas, decir, hacer.
Todos somos como una familia aquí, trabajamos codo con codo y los problemas que tiene uno los tenemos todos. Tenemos una parte nuestra dejada aquí en esta empresa y si no somos responsables de lo nuestro, pues claro, al final esto no funciona. Yo he sido asignado al Consejo Rector pues por mis compañeros, no ha sido de que por estudios ni por nada de eso, sino que mis compañeros han creído que yo soy la persona adecuada para estar en el Consejo Rector.
Nosotros preparamos una serie de decisiones que podamos tomar. Las importantes se descargan en el Consejo Rector y el Consejo Rector es quien las toma. Y hay una serie de decisiones ya más extraordinarias, muy puntuales, que se deciden en la Asamblea.
En la Asamblea, él, a pesar de ser gerente, yo ser técnico y él operario, todos tenemos el mismo voto.
Eso es.
Él tiene un voto, él tiene un voto y yo tengo un voto.
Como yo le puedo tirar al gerente y pues si todo el mundo se junta y vota que sí, pues el gerente puede ir a la calle, que es una cosa que dicen, ¿cómo puede ser?
You have an economic stake, you participate in distribution of profits. When you leave the enterprise, if the enterprise has been successful, you can take with you a significant profit share that has been accumulating over your years of working in the enterprise.
Los que trabajamos tenemos el poder y el capital es solamente un recurso, es un medio, es un instrumento, o en términos económicos el capital es un factor de producción, pero la persona, el trabajo, es lo más importante y es el soberano.
From outside, it's not very easy to see a difference between a cooperative or other kind of companies, but once you are inside, you can see these differences. You don't treat in the same way a car that is rented or your own car. So this is our company. So this is why we feel better in this company and we work happier in this company. No?
We are involved in the decisions that we made. We know about the accounts. We know about the research strategy. We are part of that and we like that.
Las cooperativas son empresas enraizadas en su entorno, ¿no? Seguramente ante procesos de deslocalización y demás, son empresas o modos de organizarse que ofrecen pistas interesantes también.
Que al final el objetivo principal de la empresa es el generar trabajo, para que con ese trabajo podamos generar el crecimiento personal, también del colectivo nuestro, y a su vez ayudar a que se transforme la sociedad.
There are dozens of worker co-ops around San Francisco Bay, including a network of 6 bakeries that were inspired by and named for the founder of Mondragon.
I really like baking. I like working with food and, you know, feeling the heat of the oven and things like that, and the physicality of actual baking. And it's also nice because it's a creative outlet, which is, you know, I think really essential for the human spirit.
Too often I thought people who were working in progressive organizations, we were trying to protest other things and stop other things, but we weren't trying to build an alternative to that. And to really have a democratic society, we have to have the people who have the democratic values be able to produce bread and be able to produce bicycles and books and the things that we need.
I like having a say in how the business is run. I think that when people share ownership, they take ownership.
Everyone's really invested in the work they do, and everyone really steps up when that investment and dedication is there. And I think that probably is the biggest difference from any other job I've ever had.
they all make the same amount of money. I've been here 13, 14 years, but if someone were to be a member tomorrow, they would make the exact same wage that I do. They have the same amount of voting say at the meetings. It's one person, one vote.
Some people it's an immediate fit, and that's just part of their core personality type. They're vocal, they can communicate really easily, they're willing to give feedback, they're willing to receive feedback, and other people have to learn over time that they have a voice. And
Up with you.
There are no managers. If anything, everyone's a manager. That doesn't mean that we just make all decisions sitting around in a group. We actually delegate a lot of things out.
Each committee is responsible for different aspects of the business. So for example, finance is responsible for making sure that payroll is done and that all of our vendors are paid on time. And production makes sure that all of our products are looking great and that when we introduce new products, there's a system for that.
The largest cooperative is still the Original Cheese Board. They do about $6 million a year in business, and the mature cooperatives are breaking about $2 million a year. Starting pay is $12 an hour. We provide health insurance for everyone. For one of our mature cooperatives that's been in business for a while, the pay range is about $30 an hour. So that takes into account wages, benefits, and profit sharing. The buy-in is $5,000 to begin with. That's $1,000 in cash or $500 in cash, and the rest can be done through payroll deductions.
We kind of wear two hats here, like sometimes we act as workers and sometimes we act as owners. And as a worker, you want to have the highest wage possible, but as an owner, you realize that for the sake of the bakery, like if sales go down, then perhaps we need to be paid less.
I think it's a great place to learn what democracy means. Maybe when I started, I was a little more idealistic about, oh, we're all going to get along, it's like really great, we're going to own a business together, and the reality is structure really does help keep things in check.
through the democratic consensus process, it takes a lot of work. And if the group is really swaying over to one side, sometimes it takes a moment to go, okay, actually, I'm going to follow suit because there's a greater momentum.
There's always going to be conflict, and I think that as opposed to normal businesses that aren't cooperatives, there might even be a little bit more conflict on the surface, just because in other businesses, if you have a problem with someone, you can just go to your boss and they can solve your problem, or they can try to work toward solving your problem. But here, we're all on the same footing, so you really have to work out your issues with each other.
Swallowing your pride and listening to others and compromising and not always getting your way is a really big part of, you know, being in a co-op. And for certain personalities, it's not really, that's not gonna happen. I personally believe that, like, no one's perfect, and it's really great to have different points of view and come together. It's not solely yours, it's everyone's, and it's that in itself is kind of a beautiful thing, I think.
Cuando yo llegué de mi país aquí, yo llegué siendo madre soltera de un hijo. Se me hacía imposible no manejar, no hablar el idioma. Era algo bien difícil.
They are treated poorly because they don't know the language. Sometimes not even paid for the work they do. Sometimes humiliated. And coming here, there's a safety net.
In Oakland, a nonprofit called Wages helps women develop green house cleaning cooperatives.
Wages provee el entrenamiento, la infraestructura y asesoramiento técnico a todos los niveles, principalmente limpieza, negocios, finanza, cooperativa, convivencia. Nosotros les incubamos por 2 años y una vez están sólidos, poco a poco Wages empieza a alejarse un poco, estando a la par en vez de adentro.
En mi anterior trabajo usaban líquidos tóxicos, estaban cloro, amonia, y eso me provocaba como alergias. Y aquí no, aquí es bien diferente.
En otros lados o a veces hasta en su mismo hogar otras personas deciden por uno y aquí no, aquí uno decide. A la hora que el negocio va a tomar una decisión es todo el grupo, nos toman en cuenta a todas, o sea, es por mayoría de votos, podemos opinar y he tenido la oportunidad de participar en la mesa directiva.
Hacerlo de la mejor manera posible.
Emma's has 30 members. I have really 30 supervisors.
Emma-Cico Clean.
We have marketing, we have a budget for marketing, and so they know that when they come here, they start, let's say tomorrow, that we are going to fill their schedule as soon as we can.
Explain a little bit who we are.
And that if there is a complaint by a client, we are going to take care of it here in the office. That if they are abused verbally, that we will take care of it here at the office.
Me gusta la flexibilidad que hay aquí, mucha flexibilidad. Mis hijos tienen citas en el doctor o se enferman y aquí es bien fácil que me dan chance de ir con mis hijos.
Sabiendo que la limpieza es tan fuerte, requiere mucho músculo y mucho trabajo físico, también sabemos que nuestras mujeres tienen otras capacidades para lograr que estas mujeres no solamente limpien, sino que puedan escalar otros campos. Y con el empoderamiento que ellas aprenden, comparten con su comunidad interna, comparten con su familia.
Yo tengo tantos hermanos que no los puedo contar.
O estar en una cooperativa no era para hacernos ricas ni millonarias, pero sí era para tener un estilo de vida mejor y no poder trabajar para un patrón, sino tener nuestro propio negocio, porque es una cooperativa y es para todas ayudarnos. Incluso cuando ando afuera y necesitamos un ayudante, yo le digo a la gente, ¿en qué trabaja? No, pues que acá ya le empiezo a platicar un poquito y como para que ellas también tengan la oportunidad que yo estoy teniendo.
The cooperatives in Mondragon got started in the years after the Spanish Civil War.
Era un país con unas tasas de paro altísimas. Los vascos éramos reconocidos como pastores en Estados Unidos. La única salida que había para nosotros era la emigración, el hacer dinero en las Américas y el traer dinero aquí.
Había una vivienda para cada 2 familias. Pasábamos hambre. No teníamos calefacción en casa. No teníamos capacidad para hacernos un traje. No teníamos. No teníamos que llevarnos a la boca para comer. Comprábamos boniatos. Comíamos pan de soja. Y actualmente tienen todos nuestros hijos.
Arizmendiarreta llega en la posguerra, en el año 41, ¿no?, a Mondragón. Se encuentra un pueblo dividido, deprimido, con muchas necesidades sociales, y lo primero que hace es trabajar con los jóvenes, ¿no?
The cooperatives were spearheaded by a visionary priest with a passion for social justice. He started a school to teach technical skills and nurture a culture of cooperation.
El lema en aquellos comienzos era el de trabajar duro, trabajar mucho y ahorrar también mucho al mismo tiempo, para que todo, para que todo el beneficio económico que se creaba se invirtiera otra vez en hacer empresa y en ampliar las posibilidades para el resto de la comunidad, ¿no?
In 1956, 5 graduates of the school founded the first industrial cooperative.
Hay una época de siembra importante que después da sus frutos, y sus frutos fue, hay que cambiar esto de alguna forma, ¿no? Hagamos empresas diferentes, ¿no? Y pongamos en marcha la fórmula cooperativa. Es importante, porque tan importante como tener proyecto o tener una fórmula es también tener un sujeto, unas personas preparadas y comprometidas, ¿no?, con todo ello, que doten de sentido a esas estructuras, ¿no?
antes de hacer cooperativas hay que hacer cooperativistas. Yo creo que nuestro error ha sido salirnos un poco de los límites que podríamos gobernar no solamente como instrumentos de venta o instrumentos comerciales, sino que podríamos dominarlos como instrumentos de cambiar la mente personal. Que nuestros hijos y nuestros nietos aprendieran de sus padres lo que sus padres han sido.
Gradually, more enterprises grew based on this philosophy in the late 1950s, and they joined together finally in 1959 to create the first Mondragon network institution, which was the cooperative bank Caja Laboral. But not really a bank, more what might be called a development finance organization, because its purpose was to help the other industrial and service cooperatives develop.
Nosotros no sabíamos hacerla, nosotros no podíamos hacerla, no entendíamos nada de banca, apenas entendíamos de nuestro oficio, de modo que rehusamos de una forma rotunda el establecimiento de la Caja Laboral. Y finalmente, ¿sabe usted lo que hizo? Cogió el petate, hizo unos estatutos, se fue a Madrid. Y en septiembre se hizo la Constitución definitiva. Y en esa Constitución definitiva ya tomamos las riendas. Alfonso tuvo que asumir la presidencia y organizar la dirección general, cuando yo no sabía dónde estaba el activo y el pasivo. No lo sabía.
Un banco importante hace ya 30 años fue hablando con el director general de Caja Laboral, Ormachea, quiero comprarle su banco. Y él decía, pero que no es mío, que es de todos, todos tendríamos que votar y no, el dinero lo puede todo, lo podemos comprar, pídame cuánto y yo le compro. Y esa decisión no está en una persona, sino que está, en el caso de Caja Laboral, entre todos los trabajadores y otros tantos delegados que vienen de las cooperativas.
Un principio cooperativo tradicional es la soberanía del trabajo. Quiere decir que el capital es necesario, pero es instrumental. El capital, en nuestro caso, no recibe beneficios, recibe unos intereses. Los beneficios van a los trabajadores en función de su trabajo y a las cooperativas en función del consumo de productos que hacen en el banco.
La democracia empresarial no es sencillo, pero es posible, ¿no? Con todos sus claros y oscuros, pero es posible, ¿no? El norte, ¿no?, hacia el que se quería caminar, ¿no?, a través de las cooperativas, era aspirar a una persona más libre, más soberana, más madura, más dueña de sí misma, en una sociedad también más autoorganizada, ¿no?, a todos los niveles, ¿no?
Through the early 60s, more and more co-ops were created, and additional network institutions were created. The Social Security and Insurance Cooperative, schools and universities, research and development centers. Cooperative governance means that we elect a portion of our board of directors, and we know who those people are. And if there are significant issues related to the running of the Faculty of Business, whether it's related to curriculum, or student recruitment, or financial aid, or some other issue, we know who these people are, we know whom we elected, and we have relatively easy access to them.
El espíritu que, por ejemplo, ha nacido en Mondragón y que subsiste en este valle de Leniz y sobre todo en estos valles encerrados, acostumbrados y domesticados en el trabajo, y además que son solidarios por sí mismos, que además que son capaces de tener dirigentes que son capaces de vivir, que mientras el peón gana 1, el gerente máximo gana 3 o 5 como máximo.
Y bueno, los sueldos son muy dignos también, ¿eh? Otra cosa es que se oyen unas cosas por ahí fuera que son estrambóticas, ¿no? Pero que no es que estemos haciendo un esfuerzo ni...
Enough is enough, cuando es suficiente, ¿no? Ha sido primero el proyecto, segundo ha sido el equipo humano y en tercer lugar siempre he puesto el salario. Entonces, para mí, el salario está muy bien. A final de mes te llega la nómina y dices, ¡jo, qué bonito! Pero luego tienes que pasar otros 30 días aguantando, pues igual a un equipo que no funciona o que no estás a gusto en un proyecto que realmente no te va.
Si yo solo conmigo mismo puedo tomar una decisión, pues me va a resultar mucho más fácil. Pero el hecho de que si esa decisión implica que otras personas, terceros, tengan que hacer cuestiones que yo haya decidido, pues tendré que explicarles, tendré que implicarles. Si en la toma de decisión participamos todos, luego a la hora de poner en práctica, ahí ya no hay excusas. Quiero decir, es una decisión que hemos tomado entre todos, es una decisión adoptada de forma democrática.
Cuantas más personas participan en la gestión, en la dinámica de una familia, de una cooperativa, lógicamente es bueno para adquirir una posición más competitiva en el mercado.
En aquella sociedad anónima era realmente la sensación de trabajar para otro, acabar la hora y a casa y se acabó. Esto es algo como que forma parte más de nuestra vida, ¿no? Porque tomamos parte desde la cabeza hasta la cola de la organización, ¿no?
Todos compartimos hasta cierto punto el que algo tenemos que sacrificar de esos intereses individuales para garantizar la supervivencia a largo plazo de la empresa. No es un enfoque de realizar beneficios y repartírselos, sino es más un enfoque de crear riqueza, de crear puestos de trabajo.
No fabricamos dos máquinas iguales. El 70% de nuestras máquinas hace 3 años no existía. Entonces estamos continuamente desarrollando tecnología para nuestros clientes, siempre buscando el beneficio mutuo, es decir, siempre provocar que con ellos ganen dinero con nuestras máquinas y nosotros también con ellos. Tenemos una organización muy horizontal dedicada a la creatividad, al desarrollo, a ese tipo de cosas, ¿no? La empresa es nuestra. La empresa es nuestra.
Bien, esto es lo que es el travesaño de un torno vertical. Esto sobre todo se usa para piezas de lo que es tema de molinos de viento. Entonces en estos momentos estamos desmontando para que luego en distintos camiones todo sea llevado a Alemania. ¿Sí?
Y el hecho de tener que preservar nuestros puestos de trabajo nos hizo pensar siempre que tendríamos que buscar aquellos sectores que no fueran a sufrir crisis, ¿sí? Es decir, sectores como, antes lo he dicho, la generación de energía o el transporte.
Trabajo básicamente en proyectos para la industria aeronáutica a nivel mundial, principalmente con fabricantes de motores de avión y también con empresas de mantenimiento. En los últimos 4 años he sido miembro del Consejo Rector de la cooperativa y en general podría decir que ha sido una experiencia muy positiva para entender los mecanismos de funcionamiento y la filosofía de la cooperativa y ver cómo se lleva a cabo y cómo se plasma en la realidad pues esa doctrina de Mondragón.
Our niche in the market is really custom machines, so everything is a little bit different. The machine we have here is an inspection machine. What it is used for is inspecting cabinets that one of our customers makes to make sure that they've been assembled properly. So it looks at the front of the door using lasers to make sure that the door is square with the rest of the cabinet.
A lot of times people come and say, well, how many times have you made a machine for our widget? It's like, never. Nobody ever has, probably. You know, this is the first time, and that's what we do, and do it pretty well.
We have the coolest jobs around because you're dreaming this stuff up.
I think so.
You're inventing something every day of the week, and you get to invent it out of thin air, and then you watch it work.
You're valued for your ideas and your creativity and you know, the things you can come up with that maybe, you know, thinking outside the box, that sort of thing. There's creative juices flowing, I guess, that maybe get stifled in other organizations.
Information is shared and people are involved and get to be part of making decisions, and then they get to benefit from those decisions too, right? It's not everybody has a little tiny cubicle and then there's one guy who comes to work in a helicopter.
We're making business decisions with engineers and wiring people, accountants, machinists, and we really credit ourselves with we run the business.
The members work basically for a share of the business profits. In good years we do well, in poor years we don't do so well. And if we don't make a lot of money, if we don't make any money one year, it's not like we close the doors. Members hunker down. They say, well, okay, what can we do next year to make it better? One member has one vote, period. It's not like in a corporation, a regular corporation, where $1 has one vote.
Right? We don't track return on equity, we track return on labor. But the management tools are very similar. In terms of managing people, it's not really, that's much less part of this job than it would be somewhere else.
I have worked at large corporations where there's a huge hierarchy, and it takes a lot of energy to operate in an environment like that. We put our energy towards our projects and our products.
I came here for the sole purpose to work for a workers' co-op. I heard about the place. I worked for a big company up in Fond du Lac. There, it didn't seem to matter how hard I worked or how little I did. It made no difference. I wanted to go to a place where I could make a difference, and I've been here for 17 years. It's the best place there is.
There's a lot of power in all of us sharing knowledge immediately right across the room. I don't have to go through a series of management and supervisors to get to another person.
It works very well. I think that the quality of our product really shows how well it works, and the fact that we have a lot of repeat customers.
To increase understanding in the United States.
The way ISMAS works is you come on board, and after 2 years you're eligible to apply for membership, and not everybody does apply. It's not required. So we do have some employees who've been here more than long enough and have even been involved more than enough to not have to worry about being approved for membership, but they don't want to be a business owner, right? They want to come home at the end of the day and be done with it for a while, and it is an extra commitment to be a member.
When we get a job, we assign a project manager to that job. They get assigned a team of engineers and assembly people and controls people.
One project, John might be, if he was still working as a project engineer, might be the boss of that project, and the next project he may be working for one of the people that work for him on that project, so those roles would flip.
We all come up with different ideas, right, and we throw them out there on the table, and hopefully the group grabs onto one of those ideas and runs with it.
Sometimes the vote doesn't go your way, but at least you heard the decision-making process and you understand why the decisions were made, which that's totally different than most other companies, I think, where a lot of the decisions are made behind closed doors or on a golf course. Or
it takes a lot longer to get to a decision, But then you don't have to convince people after the decision is made that it was the right decision, or tell them why they should participate in it and then monitor their compliance with that, right? They're on board. They were the ones who made the decision. But not all decisions are the same. Certain groups have the expertise about certain decisions and others don't. So if it comes down to a new machine for the shop, people up front in the office are interested in what it's going to cost, obviously. They're interested in why we need it, but there is an understanding that these guys are the experts.
The stress in our jobs is because of what we're trying to do and just the technical difficulty. It's not because a boss is telling you to jump left when you think you should be going right. It's not that kind of stress.
Most other companies, I couldn't share in the decision making because I wouldn't have a vote. At the end of the day, if the work I did produced profit, I wouldn't get to share in that because it would be going somewhere else. If I was concerned about what this was doing to the community, if I worked for another business, that wouldn't matter.
Yeah, in Madison we have some of the oldest worker co-ops. So Nature's Bakery, Union Cab, Community Pharmacy, we've all been around for at least 30 years. There's Nature's Bakery Co-op. They have a really nice banner. Self-organized workers, businesses just make sense. We think more in terms of how do we keep our jobs than how do we improve our bottom line. Now, obviously our bottom line is important because without a profitable business, we don't have jobs.
We offer a full-service prescription pharmacy. We also have a health and beauty section where we have natural beauty products, chemical-free body care. One of the things I really like is the ability to be able to make decisions as a group and to work things out rather than, you know, a more traditional structure where decisions are made and you may not like them, but that's just the way it is.
It's nice not having a boss. You know, I've worked in other pharmacies with bosses, and I've never wanted to be the boss. And also, you know, I grew up and went to college in the 60s and the 70s, and it was a pretty radical time. And working in a traditional pharmacy was always harder for me because it's a pretty conservative environment.
It does bring some challenges, I think, to worker co-ops, especially like when you're a co-op and you're striving for this egalitarianism, because pharmacists have, most of them have PhDs now. We have to pay them considerably more than we pay the workers.
All the pharmacists who work here have a different legal responsibility because we have a state license. We need to renew that license every year. The pharmacy has a license that certain requirements have to be met.
When it concerns drug selection, yes, I think our technicians and the other workers in the store do defer to the pharmacist's expertise. So, yeah, in a way we're set aside from just another worker. But nonetheless, it's not the owner who makes final decision on what drugs to carry, what prescription vials to buy. And this is our ability to do what's best for our patients, a decision we could make. It's not a decision your chain pharmacists are able to make. They get whatever they get.
Union Cab is a worker co-op that came from a history of labor struggle. The drivers went on strike because of really poor working conditions and shut down the business. The owner was, in the end, forced to sell. The dispatchers and the drivers realized that they had all the skills needed to run the business. So we will be getting rid of all of the gas-guzzling Crown Victorias within the next 6 months or so. We already have 20 Toyota Priuses in our fleet, and it's actually less expensive to run them because of The cost of fuel is our number 2 expense after wages.
And be right on time, 7 o'clock.
Our company trusts us to work in the most productive way for ourselves and the company. And we in turn trust the company not to screw us over because we're part of the company, and anything that happens within the company we have a little bit of say in.
It's way better than the corporations I've worked in before. As a member, you're also an owner, and you have the same voice as every other owner. Everybody has one share, one vote. Really makes you feel involved with the business. It's just not making money for the top 1% of the people working here. It's making money for everybody.
This is my way bill, my charge slips.
Co-op issues and co-op living have always been part of my life, whether it was food buying co-ops, daycares, credit unions, work environments. The flexibility, the sense of control of being able to have some influence over my workspace. Even though I was in middle management in corporate environments in the past, at the end of the day, the profits went to somebody else and the decision making was done by somebody else.
Well, the whole idea of worker cooperatives is based on cooperation, and you can't do that in a vacuum, and you can't do that singly as a business. You've got to build networks regionally, nationally, internationally to build a more fair and just economy.
Las cooperativas no están aisladas, que comparten mercado, comparten competidores, comparten proveedores y comparten el entorno económico.
With 3 weeks of stock market volatility, Main Street is flashing back to the dark days of the financial crisis.
Actualmente estamos en una crisis mundial, pues esa crisis afecta exactamente igual a las cooperativas y a empresas que no sean cooperativas.
Ahora mismo tenemos una situación complicada del mercado, una crisis, y bueno, nosotros estamos cobrando el 80% de nuestro salario, y no hay problema en decirlo, es público, de tal forma que nos faculta mantener puestos de trabajo. Y esa es una decisión que la tomó el Consejo Rector en su momento y de alguna manera se ratificó en la Asamblea.
En estos tiempos difíciles, pues ha habido gente que ha tenido que salir temporalmente de la cooperativa y ha tenido que ir a otras cooperativas. Pues un poco nuestra labor en el Consejo Social es que la gente que salga de una manera lo más justa posible.
Las medidas traumáticas que nos ha tocado tomar como cooperativa en los últimos años de crisis, pues de alguna manera ahora mismo yo creo que estamos tratando de tragar eso, pero a la postre llegaremos a esa conclusión. Diremos, joder,
por mucho de que estábamos olvidados de que decíamos, bueno, cooperativas sí, no, pero ahora nos damos cuenta de que si no tuviéramos el grupo cooperativo o lo que es Mondragón, nosotros la reestructuración que hemos llevado a cabo y todo lo que hemos tenido que hacer, no lo hubiéramos podido hacer.
En la unidad está la supervivencia, porque habrá momentos en los que unas cooperativas vayan mejor y otras vayan peor. Entonces es el momento en el que se pueden ir apoyando unas a otras para poder solventar los malos tiempos.
Existe una gran cooperación entre cooperativas, pasándonos personas de una cooperativa a otra, pasando también fondos, poniendo fondos en común para invertir en común, para crear una universidad, para crear centros de investigación y desarrollo.
The oldest and largest Mondragon cooperative is Fagor. 3 generations and tens of thousands of people have made their living here. But when the housing boom collapsed in 2008, so did a major market for their products.
La crisis nos ha afectado muchísimo a nosotros, por ejemplo. Electrodomésticos mucho. al final que tenemos trabajo, que es muy importante. Muchas veces hay empresas que son capitalistas, si hay un tipo de paro, pues vas a la calle. Habrá unos que salen mal y otros mejor, pero tienes trabajo, no te mandan a la calle, digamos, que es muy importante eso. En la época que estamos es muy importante.
UNADO se pone al servicio de esa gestión, intentando intermediar entre esas cooperativas para que precisamente si falta trabajo en una, le podamos dar un trabajo en otra. En algunas cooperativas y se opta por otro tipo de vías como pueden ser las prejubilaciones, pero siempre es una decisión voluntaria, nunca se despide, nunca se obliga a nadie a salir del sistema.
Today, the Fagor Group boasts manufacturing plants in Spain, France, Italy, Poland, Morocco, and China.
We face competition from abroad which can produce so much cheaper than us. We cannot pay our workers the same rates as they pay in Taiwan or in China or in Mexico. So we have plants in Mexico and we have plants in China, and because we need to compete with other people who also produce in China, and they are threatening to push us out of the market.
Fagor is more than a brand, because the group sells its products worldwide under...
La economía es global, entonces hay que pensar localmente, pero hay que actuar globalmente. Y eso nos obliga a buscar oportunidades fuera de nuestro mercado natural, por poder llamarlo de alguna manera. Entonces, el mercado ya es el mundo. Y entonces, bueno, habrá países que tengan una mala situación, que tengan años de crisis, y habrá otros países que estén en una situación mucho mejor. Por citar, pues los países de Latinoamérica están con crecimientos muy interesantes. Y son países en los que de alguna forma tenemos una afinidad cultural.
In some cases, it's a question of customers. In automotive components, for example, the customers are the principal car manufacturers around the world. They have an enormous amount of influence over their suppliers. They can say, if you would like to continue being a supplier to this company, Ford, Volkswagen, please have a plant in operation within 20 miles of our manufacturing facility in XYZ city in Brazil in the next 24 months.
Otro desafío importante es pues cooperativizar a todas las personas que tenemos fuera del País Vasco y que están en el Estado español, porque ahora hemos comenzado con un proceso de cooperativización de esos trabajadores que aún no son socios de la cooperativa. El otro desafío también es la cooperativización de las plantas productivas que tenemos fuera del Estado español.
This is an enormous challenge. And the community that's necessary for shared ownership to be fair and effective is very difficult to develop at those distances. These people in the next town have experience with cooperative ownership. They know what their rights and responsibilities are, what the risks and rewards will be. How can we develop the same sense of community with a group of workers in Mexico or in China or in India?
Entonces, si la empresa va bien, pueden ganar dinero. Si la empresa va mal, pueden perder dinero. Eso asusta. Yo creo que es un tema cultural. La gente está más acostumbrada a que venga alguien y diga, tenemos que hacer esto, vamos a hacerlo así y este es tu salario. Ah, muy bien. De 8 de la mañana a 5 de la tarde. Perfecto. Y ahí es donde no se acaban de conseguir ese tipo de conexión, ¿no?
Los desafíos no solo provienen del exterior, ¿no?, que está alterándose continuamente y que en estos últimos 50 años ha cambiado tanto, ¿no? También ha habido cambios en el propio metabolismo cultural, interno e incluso ideológico de las cooperativas.
Como empresas habíamos tenido un crecimiento muy importante en los últimos años, ¿no? En cambio, en lo que se refiere a la identidad cooperativa, el crecimiento había sido inversamente proporcional al crecimiento empresarial, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, que hacía falta reforzar ese aspecto, ¿no? La dimensión identitaria, social de las cooperativas.
Quizás en los últimos años sí que, pues al final nosotros tampoco vivimos en una burbuja aparte de todo el mundo, ¿no? Y pues el consumismo, el individualismo y todo eso, pues se va acrecentando también. Entonces, pues sí que se están haciendo ahora unos cursos en todas las cooperativas para volver un poco a los orígenes de lo que era la cooperativa y todo eso.
Venimos de aquí, somos esto, hombre, tenemos nuestros defectos, ¿no? Intentar arreglarlo, ¿no? Entre todos, ¿no? Las cosas malas que tiene el cooperativismo, porque todo no es gloria, ¿no? Todo no es bonito, como todo en la vida, ¿no? Y hay cosas que se pueden mejorar y en ello andamos, ¿no? Ahora con reuniones y tal, no sé, a dónde llegaremos. Sí.
Tenemos la necesidad de que dentro de 2 años, 5 años, 7 años, nuestros jóvenes cooperativistas también estén involucrados, metidos en el proyecto. No podemos admitir gente joven que esté pensando solo en su ocio, en su libertad, sino que tiene que transmitir esta educación cooperativa a esos jóvenes que hoy tienen un puesto de trabajo porque otros señores de antes han trabajado.
Si esta crisis ha demostrado algo, ha sido que hay modelos de toma de decisiones y modelos de hacer empresa que no son sostenibles en el tiempo. Mientras que en el modelo cooperativo hay elementos que permiten que haya una mayor involucración, una mayor participación, una orientación a preservar puestos de trabajo.
Intramuros, hacia adentro, la empresa debía organizarse en base a eso, ¿no? En base a que el trabajo es soberano y con lo cual, bueno, pues una persona un voto, una organización democrática y demás, ¿no? Y todos los mecanismos que se desarrollan para eso. Pero no era solo eso, ¿no? Entendían que la empresa no debía ser únicamente para llenar los bolsillos individuales de unos pocos, sino que tenía que tener además una función social.
Es decir, transformar la forma de organizar la empresa, pero también la sanidad y la jubilación y la cultura, ¿no? Y la educación, de forma que todos estos ámbitos de la vida social sean transformados desde la intuición de la autogestión, de la organización, de la autoorganización de la comunidad, ¿no?
I work here as an employee, but I also own one share of the company. I have a say in what happens with the company, which is awesome.
If the company loses money, we take a hit, we have to pay. If we make money, after all our other expenses are paid and we've paid out our dividends and invested some back in the company, we get the profit sharing. So we have a stake, we have skin in the game, as they say. It's a real business, we have goals to meet, but there's just this environment that we all love what we're doing, and it's very meaningful to us, and we all want it to work.
EcoExchange is best known for our fair trade coffee. It's what we started with, and it is our reason for being, is to work with these democratically organized cooperatives of small-scale farmers who normally are exploited by the system. Our goal was to make the market work for the small farmer and for these co-ops owned and governed by the farmers themselves.
Once you see how much work goes into picking that coffee, getting it here, the struggles that the farmers go with, they get this little extra social premium for the fair trade price, and they can choose to invest it in clean water, they can choose to invest it in quality improvements, they can choose to invest it in more mechanized equipment, but then, maybe there's a landslide and they have to spend it on roads so that they can get the product to market or so they can get their kids to school.
We're not at the whims of outside investors. That our company won't be bought and sold out from under us, and that as the owners, we can make sure that Equal Exchange stays on mission.
Alrighty, what's your customer ID?
The smartest people that I see on a daily basis are in this building. The most interesting conversations I have in my life are always at the tables at lunch. The biggest challenge that we get is from each other. When you're hired, you're a worker. After a year, you have the ability to be voted into the co-op. Being a worker owner who on some level is supervised by management, who is then supervised by the executives of the company, which is then supervised by the board of directors, which could be somewhat in this group in the worker owner body. That circle, sort of the checks and balances of that system is really beautiful.
Americano. What we're here to do is operate a different kind of business and try to teach consumers the value of a different kind of business. And sometimes that creates an opportunity for us to have a conversation about what sustainable retail food products could look like and what they cost, what the real cost of those things are. And sometimes you've got a line of people and they don't want to have that conversation, and they say, that's too much, and they walk out the door. As a business owner, I can't say, well, I don't need that person, I don't need their business. So I've got to think about, either evaluating our decisions or evaluating how we message it, or say, we're going to make every decision the greenest decision that we can, and if that means that that this isn't the right business for some people to patronize, then that's part of the cost of doing business our way.
But every day we test every roast that we roasted the day before. You grind coffee into the cup, pour hot water on it, and then the grind's actually raised to the top, and then they trap the aroma underneath. And so when you break that crust, you get that first kind of impression of the coffee, which is really intense and exciting. It's basically just a way to check for cleanliness, consistency, and roast level, and making sure that everything that we're producing comes out really well and sweet and delicious with interesting characteristics.
What we're going to talk about at this meeting is what the work priorities are for next year, who and
We've had to learn how to create a place where we could routinely make group decisions, not in a way that everybody gets their way, because that's not going to happen, but to do it in a way that people believe is fair, transparent, and where people have faith in the system, even if they don't get the outcome they wanted on a particular occasion.
We've got to put the business first. If we're not moving coffee for farmers, we're not supporting our mission. If we're not bringing money in, we're not building this business. We're not creating a viable business. But once we take care of that, we need to kind of keep managing the co-op and actively developing ourselves as owners of the business. That has to go hand in hand with our day jobs.
So let me ask this question. So, bananas, was it a risk? Was it an innovation?
I would say it was a risk, and it was also a major innovation because it was a new market that they took a risk to go ahead and jump in.
Allowing for risk helps retain your more innovative employees. Without allowing innovation or risk, you not only risk stagnation as a company, but you also dampen employee retention.
Like, what are the conditions that encourage risk or innovation here? What are the obstacles, structural, cultural, self-imposed?
Imagine you start a cafe and you hire a bunch of baristas, and they're all employees of Equal Exchange now, whether they're on track or not, and then you fail, well, 13 people just lost their jobs. That is kind of a risk, right?
That if we go really deep with any risky venture, we have the livelihood of 120, 125 people here at stake. And I think there's a certain knowledge of that and awareness in the back of our heads, like, boy, we blow this one, what are we all going to do for work next year?
If we fail totally, it doesn't just affect us,
we have a bigger mission, like we have a social mission, and so if we fail, it also affects the fair trade thing and farmers, and so taking really huge risks affects a lot more people than the 100+ people who work here.
Well, so that makes another point. Anytime you can increase democracy in some place, like a workplace, that's a good thing. And that makes all those challenges more than worthwhile. And not innovative for a coffee company.
Yes, we do have a lot of meetings.
What do you call it, a risk?
But if we're continuing to deliver on the things that we promised that we're going to deliver on, if we are able to continue to make a difference in fair trade, in coffee, in small farmers' lives, then who's to say that having a lot of meetings doesn't work?
People have offered us a lot of money but said, hey, I want a seat on the board. And they want to tell you how to run your business, and they want you to put their financial returns above all other values. We said, you know what, we really need the money, but the board, people are nominated by the worker owners here, and they're elected by the worker owners, and that's our structure. We're not willing to compromise it.
I feel that somebody who believes in cooperativism is much more likely to actively participate in the social and democratic processes outside the cooperative. If you are not willing to be pushed about in your job, you are not willing to be pushed about by a politician, by a policeman, by anybody else who thinks that they've got power.
Cooperatives are growing and expanding into new areas. The United Steelworkers in Mondragon are developing unionized worker co-ops. And delegations are visiting Cleveland, hoping to adapt the Evergreen model for their own cities.
The world is watching, the economy is so bad, everybody, other cities want this to be successful. We own this place. That's an extra reason to go to work, Say like it's a house. If you rent it, not so much, but if you own it, that's a big deal.
I don't know if I could work in a normal company. I'm, spoiled at being able to ask our executive directors how they made a certain decision, or tell them what I think about it, and not worry about any kind of repercussions. In fact, they'll probably invite me to sit down and talk about it.
Ha cambiado el mundo, pero la empresa sigue funcionando estáticamente con un sistema organizativo y autoritario, centralizado, como hace 50 o 80 años. Es posible buscar el equilibrio entre ser empresas rentables y tener como fin último crear riqueza a la sociedad. Ese es el futuro, no solamente cooperativo, sino también de cualquier tipo de empresa moderna del siglo XXI.
Soy la segunda generación de una familia cooperativista. Las 3 hermanas somos socias en Fagor. Siento como algo mío. Sí. Es mi casa. Lo han hecho la generación de mis padres, nos lo han dejado en herencia y tenemos que seguir trabajando para dejar esa herencia a nuestros hijos.